guys, what's going on? Back again with another zombies video, and for this one I want to talk about Zombie Chronicles 2 and the release date for Zombie Chronicles 2, or the potential release date for Zombie Chronicles 2. And as you can see in the title, I put not clickbait because the last time I did a Zombie Chronicles 2 video, I was pretty much just mocking and ridiculing and doing a parody on the big toxic zombie YouTubers that just make clickbait videos saying Zombie Chronicles 2 is definitely coming. It's definitely confirmed. I have inside information. So this was not clickbait because we all learned from now, or about by now, from the devs at Treyarch that it was never made, it wasn't being made, it isn't being made. So now it's more about when it's coming or when it's going to be made, and that's what the majority of this is going to be, is how it's made, when it's made. And from my personal experience, I understand though some of the big toxic zombie YouTubers, the bigger channels, have more hands-on experience with the devs, and they might have more detail about this than I do. But from my small interactions, I'll call it, with the Treyarch devs, I can kind of pinpoint kind of exactly when Zombie Chronicles 2 would come and how it's going to make sense and when it's going to make sense and stuff like that. So with all that being said, from the moment the idea of a map comes to mind, let's just say today is pretty much March 1st, 2022, and you come up with an idea for a map. At this point, we're going to talk about Vanguard because I think Cold War Zombie Chronicles 2 is pretty much a pipe dream. I very doubt, or highly doubt, they're going to go back to a last generation console and create Zombie Chronicles for that. I know it happened in 2015. I think times are different. I think things are going to be a lot different now because of budgeting, resources, and stuff like that. To me, it looks like it's highly unlikely that they would put all that money, resources, and time, even though time is a resource, to put it in Cold War. Pretty much, I wouldn't say like a dead game, but it's not going to be supported as much as the future games, especially what's going on at Activision and all that stuff. But okay, so assuming you come up with an idea for one map, this is just literally one map, and what I try and tell people is, they're not gonna have an idea or do it or duplicate what they did with the first Zombie Chronicles. I think now everything going forward, again, just to kind of put everything, I'm going to call it like almost under the same umbrella, is they're not going to create new maps or redo the old ones or remaster without it being part of the storyline. That's what I explained to people last time. Zombie Chronicles 1 was a story in itself. A lot of people didn't know that story, and I'm not going to go over it again, but basically Zombie Chronicles 1 was kind of like a game in its own. It had its own story and stuff like that. So with Zombie Chronicles 2, if we end up getting one, what they're going to do is they're going to reimagine the maps differently. Obviously, the old survival style, sandbox style, I'm going to call it, is kind of going out the window. It's obsolete. With anything, with technology, people are always going to grasp onto those last strings or pieces until pretty much they die. People are hard to switch over to new technologies, new whatever. They want to, I guess it's called, like, I don't want to say like old school, but like people don't want to move on. But with Zombie Chronicles 2, and I'm going to try and tone this down a little bit, or fine tune it a little bit better, so I'm not all over the place. Basically, if they're going to make Zombie Chronicles 2, it's going to include newer stuff, new storylines, and it's going to have to. With that being said, again, to go back on track, is let's say it's March 1st, 2022. One map. I'm just talking one single map. I'm not talking about 8 remastered maps, because one map is going to need one story, one idea, a production team, concept artists, level designers, all that stuff to make one single map. You multiply that times 8, because people are going to say the quick answer is going to be, well, just give us the old maps exactly how they were. That's going to be a huge disaster if they end up doing that. If they end up giving us 8 of the old maps, all the same, nothing's changed. Nobody's gonna play that. Like, people want newer, different things. So just to get one map from personal experience, let's say you come up with a great idea for a one Treyarch mod. Let's say you love Vanguard, and you're like, hey, I really want this idea. Okay, I'll use my idea as a matter of fact. Let's just say I really, 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 really 1,000,000% want a hand first sight parallel to transit, you know, in Vanguard, because it's World War II and hand first sight was really important in World War II. It can kind of maybe give us a backstory of how transit happened. I think that would be a great idea. So let's use that idea for a second. It takes approximately 6 months from now. So right now we're looking at March 1st. 6 months from now is like September. So hypothetically speaking, we won't get a Hanford Transit inspiration, backstory, prequel to Transit till the earliest September. If everything goes smoothly, there's no hiccups, there's no World War III in real life and stuff like that, it's going to take approximately 6 to 8 months just to get one map completed, tested, done, level designed, concept, um, you know, narrative, voice lines, all that stuff. Maybe, like I said, concept is going to be the most important thing. Like, they can pretty much give you like a bare bones, probably Hanford site, but they're going to want to add the zombies twist to it, whatever, or zombies touch to it. So, relatively speaking, one idea for one map is going to give you 6 to 8 months. So, again, that's just one map. In Zombie Chronicles, people are going to want like 8 maps or 6 maps or whatever. So, that's why I'm trying to put it into perspective or reality for people. If for some reason they think they're going to wake up uh, in Season 3 or whatever, and Cold War is going to have a Zombie Chronicles 2 releasing, or maybe during the summertime, that's virtually, literally impossible unless Treyarch hires about 300, new people on the team, or the Zombies team or whatever. Aside from what's going on with, Modern Warfare, all hands on deck for that, apparently. It would be the same exact thing. It would be all hands on deck for Zombie Chronicles 2. They would actually have to pull everybody off of Warzone. And I hate to laugh about it, but it's reality. People just have these pipe dreams, or, they inflate people's hopes. But generally speaking, it's going to take 6 to 8 months for one map. What they would literally have to do is pull everybody off of Warzone, Modern Warfare 2022. Modern Warfare 22 still needs DLC and content and stuff like that. And they would have to pull maybe people off of whatever, which that's actually happening now, but it's happening, with Modern Warfare and the upcoming games. So again, with that being said, as far as like a time frame, I think they're going to do it alongside the game in 2024, or they're going to, make 2024 a kind of Zombie Chronicles 2. I know somebody mentioned it the other day, and I want to kind of mention it again also. They tried that in previous maps, and the unfortunate truth, I know people are going to hate me for saying it, and I understand people are simps on the bigger channel because they use the big channels to get their small channel names out there and get recognized and get noticed. Everybody wants to get noticed in the zombies, in the zombies community, and by the toxic zombie YouTubers. That was me a couple years ago. Until you kind of realize what goes on and stuff like that. But again, realistically speaking, they would have to do it alongside the game of 2024, but they would have to do a reimagined map with the new storyline. Maybe in 2024, again, it's going to have a story attached to it and attached to the new game. And this is assuming they're not going to go a whole different direction, because I still have a theory that in 2024, we're not going to see the conclusion of Peck. We're not going to see the conclusion of the Dark Ether. We're not going to see the conclusion of Samantha. It's been trending and typical now, and I want to point out again that they have gone different directions every single game now. You count like the last 5 zombies games, they all ended on cliffhangers. They all ended on to be continued, and maybe it's up to the zombie players and the zombies community and the toxic zombie YouTubers to now go back and do your research, find out maybe what happened, come up with your own conclusion. I've mentioned before that movie directors have done it, authors have done it for books, TV shows, even you look at Sopranos, you look at maybe even Lost. When these shows end, they want to end it like a psychological thriller, and you have to come up with your own idea. And you think about Jordan Peele now, what he's doing with movies. It's now up to the audience to like, hey, what do you think happened, or what do you think happened to the hero at the end? Do you think the villain survived? Now, keep in mind again, Cold War storyline could 100% be over. Um, the next storyline could be something totally different. It could be futuristic, Black Ops, whatever. It could be Samantha's grandchildren talking about her grandmother, years from now. It could be so many different things. I don't see them continuing or latching on too much to the past anymore. I know it helps tell stories and stuff like that, but if you look at Vanguard, um, it's a disaster because people are hanging on to the ether story. The toxic zombie YouTubers only know how to make money from the original ether story. They don't know how to look into stuff. They don't know how to research, and because they don't have those small channels and people now force feeding them answers or hand delivering money to them, now they don't know how to do stuff on their own. They don't know how without Jason Blundell giving them answers, without Jason Blundell and Treyarch giving them um, you know, all the answers and making money for them and exclusive interviews and exclusive invites. They don't know how to like do anything, um, and it blows my mind how they even survived or how even they. Well, I know how they got to the way that they are now because they got everything hand delivered to them, and because of the way Vanguard is, and it's difficult. Again, I mentioned before, multiplayer went through the same thing. Multiplayer got really difficult. People complained about it. People jumped to Apex because Apex was very easy. People jumped to the older games because it's very easy. Again, where I'm going with all this is, again, think 6 to 8 months for one map. Multiply that times 8 maps. What I think they're going to do, they're going to probably do what they tried doing in the past. I know people didn't like that, where they did Nuketown. Well, Nocturne and Toten was a huge success. But aside from Nocturne and Toten, think about some of the maps that people didn't like. Nuketown. People wanted Nuketown. They wanted to know what was underneath the bunker. They wanted to know the backstory. People begged for it. And when they delivered it, then people complained about the map. You think about even Tag Your Toten and that Call of the Dead. People wanted that. People wanted to know the backstory. People wanted to know the World War II Nazis story that George Romero mentioned and stuff like that, and they gave them that, and people complained about it. So it's gonna be tough for them to. Well, I wouldn't say people. I would say toxic zombie YouTubers, the big channels, complained about it because that's the content they need. Tag to Total maybe was too difficult for them. Nuketown, Alpha Omega was maybe too difficult for them. So the only thing they could do to satisfy those toxic people is give them like easy zombies and stuff like that. But again, where I'm going with that is it's probably going to come, if anything, it's going to come alongside the next generation of consoles, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And again, that's the other thing too. With Xbox having backwards compatibility, there actually is no sense for them to make Zombie Chronicles because honestly, every single game, every single Call of Duty is backwards compatible, I believe, on Xbox, and you can kind of just pop it in. I mention this to people, like, people tend to bend and change history and stuff that happened. Zombie Chronicles was a PlayStation fans, request, and it was for PlayStation fans. Xbox players never asked for Zombie Chronicles. I didn't buy Zombie Chronicles till probably last year or a couple months ago. That was something because PlayStation doesn't have backwards compatibility, and PlayStation and Call of Duty had a partnership, and they worked together to bring those maps out. Because they don't have backwards compatibility, it was their first relationship with PlayStation. I think they had just switched from I think maybe I think Black Ops 3 was that the first PlayStation exclusive, and they probably worked something out like, hey, we don't have backwards compatibility like Xbox does, and can you make these maps for us and make the PlayStation fans? It made a ton of money for PlayStation and stuff like that. So again, just to kind of recap it real quick again, it's like 6 to 8 months for one map, um, unless they hire a bunch of people, unless they take people off other, stuff that they have going on. If anything, it's gonna probably come. I mean, I would love something to come in Vanguard, but realistically, it's probably not gonna come till Black Ops 6 because they need a lot of time to make those maps, and nothing is made right now. I don't know if there's any zombie YouTubers still clickbaiting saying Zombie Chronicle 2 is coming. It's made. I think we all understand now that it was never made. Like I said, and I'm thankful for the devs that they came out and said it because people want to believe anything. If you tell somebody that they look good and they don't look good, they're gonna believe it. People want you. People ask 5 people for their opinion until they get that person that tells them what they want to hear. Um, that's the thing. If you watch five zombie YouTubers and 5 of them are saying Zombie Chronicles isn't coming, you're gonna watch a 6th video, and if that 6th person says Zombie Chronicles 2 is made, it's coming, then you're gonna believe them, and they're gonna be your hero. You're gonna love them, and that's the unfortunate truth. People want to hear what they want to hear, and people don't want to listen to reality or the truth. They just want to hear, or false hope, I guess. People, they want to hear false hope. They want to hear that, that lottery ticket you buy, that's the winning ticket. So again, it's going to be a long time from now before it even comes because it takes a long time to make one map to come up with an idea. You're not going to just make Zombie Chronicles and then have 8 crappy maps. You're going to need to really think through what you want to do for those remastered or reimagined maps and stuff like that. And then you're going to run into the people that are going to say, oh, Call of Duty is recycled content. Why are they making all the old zombies map? We want new zombies map. So then you're going to have the toxic zombie YouTubers saying that you're going to have to deal with that. Like, why are they remastering all these maps? We want 8 new maps. We don't want 8 of the old maps. So they're never going to win. So anyways, I hope that cleared a lot of stuff up for you guys. I'll see you guys there.